It is good to be with you on another episode of Service to Humanity, a sponsored program of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. In this episode, we take a break from the review of milestone events in 2021. We shall instead bring you details of some major events that happened in the ministry recently, cutting across the implementation of the National Social Investment Program. In our lineup, there is an NSKILLS Train the Trainer meeting, the review of the GEEP 2.0 implementation so far, as well as a meeting by the monitoring teams for the NSIP to review progress. All of these after the news highlights coming up shortly. Please stay tuned.
The Empower program is key to helping young Nigerians acquire and develop.
The federal government of Nigeria remains committed to including and protecting persons with disabilities to guarantee that no one is left behind.
I see that we are going through challenging times, and I see this woman running all about the country trying to help our people, because this lady is doing a very good job for our country.
Thank you.
Thank you for all what they have been doing for us.
The program starts with the Management Diary, where we bring you news and current happenings in the ministry and her agencies. In the news, Southwest and Knowledge beneficiaries graduate from camp. These and other stories in our first segment.
About 3,225 beneficiaries were graduated from the Empower and Knowledge training program in the Southwest Geopolitical Zone. The training, which lasted for a period of 3 months, started in November 2021 to January 2022 at the Osun State College of Education, Ila Orago. The beneficiaries were trained in 6 major courses that include software and hardware engineering and creative, entrepreneurship development skills, and scripting. At the graduation ceremony, the beneficiaries received their certificates and toolkits to start their own businesses.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Come on, everybody.
The beneficiaries commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his efforts of empowering them to become self-reliant.
I'm very grateful to the federal government that he provides this thing. More power to them.
And I want to say a very big thank you to Mr. President, the minister in charge of this program. I say thank you for your good work. God bless you.
The coordinator of the program in the institution said, the program was designed to train beneficiaries who mostly have a minimum of secondary school certificate in various skills and get them ready for employment or to start their own businesses with the working tools they receive at the end of the training.
The federal government actually made a good effort by training these people and as well as making efforts to give them necessary tools for their development so that within a short period of time, the beneficiary will also become employers of labor. And that is very good for the beneficiaries and as well as the whole nation at large.
The acting provost of Osun State College of Education, Professor Jimo Afolabi, who commended the federal government for creating the program, added that, apart from beneficiaries who are trained to become self-reliant, the training also impacts the economy of immediate communities around the institution by boosting their businesses.
By the time this program started here, the rate at which the commuters always get passengers has increased now that the program has started. Even the food vendors over there in town, they experience that, oh, the program is on.
The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development says it is partnering the United Nations World Food Programme (UNWFP) to take the national homegrown school feeding program to the next level. In a press release from the ministry, the Minister Sadia Umar Farouk said it took the decision after a joint assessment conducted in the first quarter of 2021 to identify ways of improving, scaling up and sustaining the school feeding program, especially as schools resume fully across the country. The minister said the program remains an important intervention of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari towards addressing issues of hunger, malnutrition, poverty and education. She also said the ministry is totally committed to strengthening and sustaining the program, especially because of its potentials as a development driver. She therefore appreciated the support of the UNWFP, describing it as timely, relevant and well appreciated. The WFP Country Director Ronald Sibanda, on his part, commended the Nigerian government for investing resources and funding into the design and implementation of its national homegrown school feeding program. He assured the federal government of its support to scale up the program and its impact in the lives of children.
Across the 6 geopolitical zones,
they should use this money for what it is meant for, previously to take care of their family.
In 36 states and the FCT. Over 6.4 million of Nigerians poorest of the poor in about 1.3 million households receive conditional cash transfers of 5,000 naira monthly under the Household Upliftment Program of the federal government. Their joy knows no bound.
And the government is very well because they did well for us.
It helped me to do any other thing, my family.
Reducing absolute poverty, promoting shared prosperity through the Conditional Cash Transfer Initiative. The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in service to humanity.
You are watching Service to Humanity. When the minister flagged off the commencement of the N-Power Batch C, it was with the announcement of NSKILLS component. Only last week in Abuja, the ministry organized a 2-day master training for the lead trainers for life skills, foundational skills and entrepreneurship training. These trainers will have the responsibility of going back to their various states to train others under this component. Let's take details of the event in our next story. Keep watching.
When you first engage the person.
The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has organized a 2-day master training for lead trainers for life skills, foundation skills and entrepreneurship training under the NSKILLS component. The NSKILLS program is a social investment program designed to train 175 beneficiaries from each state for various skills based on the certification system and accreditation of training provided through apprenticeship systems anchored by master crafts and formal training system using community skills development centers. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, was represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Bashir Noura Al-Ali, said the program aims to improve the quality of relevant skills using a certification system and to ease transition of target beneficiaries to full-time skills employment and further their education. He added that the program primarily targets the young people, considering their population as they continue to grow and take over businesses in every part of the country.
The program targets marginalized and disadvantaged population, including those with primary or no formal education at all. The NSKILLS program is in line with the National Skills Qualification Framework for the development, classification, and recognition of skills, knowledge, and competencies acquired by individuals, irrespective of where and how the training or skill is acquired. It will help in bridging the gap in demand for standard and market-relevant skills.
The National Coordinator of the NSIP, Engineer Umar Binder, on his part, said qualified people were selected as lead trainers that will impart entrepreneurial knowledge to beneficiaries as part of the present administration's efforts to lift Nigerians out of poverty.
NSKILLS is an arm to ginger the young people. Like one Indian man said to me when I was working in Northern, he said, Dr. Bindi, your country is full of dollars. The dollars are just flying in the street. You will just take a basket and sweep dollars into your basket. But you need special glasses to see those dollars. And those special glasses are skills competencies, and so on and so forth. And this is why you are here as a transition team to be able to capture the concept from the consultants, and you take it down to the people who need it.
The training had in attendance representatives from 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. They were trained so that they can go back to their various states and train other beneficiaries under the NSKILLS program.
So we need to know what is wrong with that person's delivery of service.
On behalf of target beneficiaries, the lead trainers who participated in the training expressed their appreciation to the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development for introducing the program that will not only help to mitigate poverty but also illiteracy and other social challenges facing the country.
On behalf of the target beneficiaries, I want to really and sincerely and deeply appreciate our Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development for this noble program that country is ready to come. Training 175 beneficiaries in each state will go a long way to help us mitigate the effects of poverty, no education, and all other social ills that we've been experiencing.
I want to assure you that we are ready to learn, we are learning, and we shall scale down this learning very well.
You are watching Service to Humanity, updating you on the activities of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development as it carries out its mandate. When GEEP 2.0 was launched, it was with a difference. The National Orientation Agency was involved as a partner in the implementation process. Last week, the NOA and the Ministry met for a review of the physical registration and digitization of the potential beneficiaries' data. What is it like? We have details in our next segment.
The National Orientation Agency, an implementing partner of the GEEP 2.0, a cluster under the National Social Investment Program of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, held a review meeting in its office in Abuja. The meeting was aimed at highlighting the challenges that came up and the lessons learned thereafter from the physical registration and digitization of the potential beneficiaries' data. It had in attendance the NSIP National Coordinator, Dr. Binder, master trainers, state focal persons and community orientation and mobilization officers. The Director General, National Orientation Agency, Dr. Garba Abare, while appreciating the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development for the collaboration, said, "The review meeting has become necessary to help address the challenges that were encountered during the implementation of GEEP 2.0 program and to highlight ways to make the next process hitch-free."
But there are issues that came up. And these are issues which we have to lay on the table for both sides to see and to address. Number one is the issue of conflicting directives from the ministry, which keeps actually coming all through. And this conflicting directive actually has also impacted on the way and manner in which state focal persons, COMOS, the state directors, the ministry, the headquarters of the NOA, all should have interacted.
The National Coordinator, Dr. Umar Binder, highlighted some of the challenges encountered in the course of assessment of proper implementation of the GEEP program and efforts put in place for the actualization.
We've already indicated when GEEP 1.0 or GEEP was implemented under His Excellency's office, the Office of the Vice President, it was only Bank of Industry. And I think it was very convenient. You just get an institution, drop the program there and just leave it like that. Whatever happens, you have somebody to answer. But getting it institutionalized in that way will become different, because you have Bank of Industry has its own mandate, and then you bring another program, there will be some issues to do with instability. So moving it to the ministry, and we were directed strictly to ensure that we institutionalize this.
It was an interactive session with discussions and suggestions of solutions to the challenges encountered.
There were 2 areas, hard to reach areas and far to reach areas.
Okay, this is just some of the problems we have in Lagos State. It's not
At the end of the event, Fatiha Askadarin, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Enlightenment, spoke on the significance of the partnership with NOA and how far it has come.
The NOA has been a very worthy partner in this work that we are doing. NOA has presence in all the 774 local government. So we leverage on that partnership to make sure that GEEP reaches all the LGAs in this country. So it has been a good partnership. We have had very good response from the NOA office, and we hope to continue to sustain it.
It's a trick.
The decision to introduce monitoring teams to check implementation of the NSIP across the country was one the ministry took in 2021 with the sole aim of improving efficiency and making sure that Nigerians get the full impact of poverty reduction initiative of the president. The monitors are back from this first ever monitoring expedition, and we have the report of their meeting in our next segment. Don't go away.
During the presentations that took place at the Treasury House in Abuja, the Special Assistant to the President on Media and Enlightenment, Fatiha Askadarin, said the report from the monitoring team will help the ministry in decision-making to ensure the well-being of the poor and vulnerable citizens through the social investment programs.
So far, this is the first of its kind, and we hope to continue to have this engagement and field visits as often as possible. The proposal is for us to have it quarterly with management approval and with management backing. We're going to continue to go out on the field to see what is happening. We all saw this, we all went out and we saw what is happening, and everybody said it was an eye-opener. Personally, for me, it was an eye-opener because I saw a lot of the things that are reported. I saw some of the things that are not reported, and I saw some of the things that were swept under the carpet. So going out and seeing is believing. So going out to see what is happening will really help us to improve the program and to give data that would make it easier for management to make decisions.
The Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs was represented at the event by the NSIP National Coordinator, Engineer Omar Bindur.
So unless we design, implement, monitor, capture the information, and share, Nigerians would not know whether we are making progress or whether we are not.
While making their presentations, the team leaders confirmed that the NSIP has timely impacted its target beneficiaries positively, thereby achieving its objectives despite some challenges faced by the programs.
Then the homegrown school feeding program, the community and the schools within that area also praised the federal government for this initiative because it has equally increased the school enrollment and also added to socio-economic value and activities to the farmers, the local farmers.
Some of the challenges highlighted by the team leaders include lack of proper sensitization of beneficiaries on the purpose of the programs, lack of collaboration among the stakeholders, inconsistency of school feeding program in some schools, NPOWER beneficiaries not reporting to their place of primary assignment (PPA), non-commitment by some state governments, lack of proper supervision, amongst others.
For
The level of collaboration with states, it's very, very poor, in the sense as the states have no interest at all in what is going on with the NSIP programs. That's our findings. And then they have a lot of challenges.
Some of the cooks that we paid, they only cook like once or twice, and the rest, they were not cooking for the children.
Part of their recommendations include that more Nigerians should be enrolled in the programs. Cooks should timely be paid. Security and media teams should be provided for the monitoring exercise. The ministry to consider including nursery classes in the school feeding program. Regular monitoring is required to check challenges and take necessary actions on the NSIP.
More funding. Registration for potential beneficiaries should be done online. Then the cordial relationship between the state and the state GEEP and the NOA. More sensitization on NSIP in the state.
We beg to say here that the 70 naira per child is grossly inadequate. In Borno State, for example, where I went to, because of the insurgency, foodstuff has become so expensive in Borno State. That's the most expensive thing in Borno State right now.
Compared to the magnitude and hazardous nature of the exercise and the state we visited, security should be taken seriously into consideration subsequently.
Speaking in an interview, the NSIP National Coordinator, Engineer Umar Bindur, said the meeting was part of their strategic meetings to review the NSIP progress to analyze the achievements that have been achieved so far in lifting over 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, as promised by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration.
This meeting literally is a review meeting. It's part of our strategic meetings to ensure that how the NSIP was designed, how it is being implemented, how it is reaching the Nigerians at the bottom of the pyramid, and so on and so forth is actually happening. This is our stronghold for the program. The monitor and evaluation as part of a strategy is key to the success of every program. So this meeting, as we're implementing the N-Power, ensuring that young people are attached and they're training and they're providing volunteer services, as we're feeding school children in the schools, as we're delivering the conditional cash transfer to the poor and vulnerable in the communities, as we're delivering the loans, the very soft loans under the GEEP, that these things are in all the 774 local government areas in this country. And therefore, it is part of our strategy to send monitors at all levels. We have the independent monitors who are living with the communities to ensure that these things are happening at the communities. We are engaging the community-based organizations and non-governmental organizations who will provide the second-level monitoring to ensure that they have both direct data of beneficiaries and also information from the independent monitors. But this particular group are the group at the top that we sample spots nationwide, and we go to find out, are the children being fed? Are they being fed very well? Are those N-Power volunteers volunteering? Are they going to the schools to teach? Are they providing the healthcare services? Are those conditional cash transfer beneficiaries really benefiting? Do we have very well organized strategy to deliver the loans under the GEEP? So this meeting is literally about that.
Bindur added that though the report was a mixture of positive and negative, he was happy that the good part of it outweighed the negatives.
Well, the report, any report of this type of social packages, you will get the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that you will hear children are being fed, communities are very happy, the farmers in the communities are selling their goods. You will also hear that some women are getting loans and they are selling aleho or their dudu oshun or whatever is moving. You will hear that young people are happy that they are teaching in community schools and they are getting their stipend of 30,000. But you will also hear that some young people are not reporting to the schools and therefore the headmasters are worried. You will hear that, yes, the schools are not being fed 5 days in a week. They are fed only 3 days. And you will hear the very bad and ugly ones too, where some schools are just not being fed at all. Some of the cooks are not cooking at all. Some of the young people who are on Empower are not reporting at all. So it's a mixture. But I'm happy to report that the good is actually overweighing the bad and the ugly. And our job is to ensure that we get this type of reports and then panel beat our operations to minimize the ugly, to totally eliminate the bad, and then amplify the good. So this is the objective.
So after the
And that's our package on this episode of Service to Humanity. Join me again, same time next week and same station for more on the strides of the ministry and her agencies in reaching the nation's most vulnerable with the initiatives of the federal government to better their lives. My name is Hafsat Mustafa Hadija, saying good night and God bless Nigeria.